Have you ever noticed that as we grow older, the simplest things in life become the most precious? A restful night's sleep, a clear and alert morning, a meal enjoyed with ease. Yet, sometimes, it feels as if our own bodies betray us. Fatigue comes more easily. Memory isn't as sharp, and even our hands and feet no longer respond the way they used to. Quietly, there is one vitamin that serves as the spark of life for older adults. Vitamin B12. It's invisible to the naked eye, yet powerful enough to determine the sharpness of our minds, the strength of our bodies, and the steady rhythm of our hearts. The troubling part is this: the older we get, the harder it becomes for our bodies to absorb vitamin B12. That means the precious benefits it offers gradually slip away, leaving behind silent consequences that many overlook till it's too late. Imagine this. Simply from lacking vitamin B12, a father or mother may slowly fall into confusion, memory fading, even forgetting the very faces of loved ones. Simply from lacking B12, legs may falter, the heart may beat irregularly, and the body may sink into relentless exhaustion. That is why, in today's video, I want to explore with you what real benefits does vitamin B12 bring to older adults, and when it's missing, how serious are the consequences? This isn't just nutrition science. It's a reminder for us to care for ourselves, for our parents, and for those we love before it becomes too late. If you feel this topic matters, please give this video a like to support the channel, and subscribe so you won't miss more meaningful content. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Have you ever heard about vitamin B12 and its impact? I'd truly love to hear your story. So then, what benefits does vitamin B12 really bring to the elderly? And why is it often called the golden key to lasting health? Let's dive in together. Benefits of vitamin B12 for older adults. Vitamin B12 can be thought of as an invisible friend of old age. It doesn't boast, it doesn't make noise, but day by day, it quietly keeps the body's system running smoothly. Its first and most crucial role is being the guardian of memory. As we age, nerve cells begin to deteriorate and signal transmission in the brain slows down. B12 works like a protective coating, ensuring that these pathways stay intact. Thanks to it, the mind stays clear, memories linger longer, and the risk of dementia or Alzheimer's is reduced. Beyond that, B12 is the very foundation for blood formation. Many elderly people feel constantly tired, pale, dizzy, not realizing that the culprit may be anemia caused by a lack of B12. With sufficient B12, the bone marrow produces healthy red blood cells, carrying oxygen to every corner of the body. With that alone, vitality is rekindled, steps become lighter, and the face regains its glow. Few know that B12 also quietly protects the heart. In older age, levels of homocysteine, compound harmful to blood vessels, often rise. Left unchecked, it stiffens arteries, leading to strokes or heart attacks. B12 lowers homocysteine, keeping vessels healthy, allowing the heart to beat steadily through the years. And then there is one subtle, deeply important aspect: mental health. Vitamin B12 plays a role in synthesizing serotonin and dopamine, the very chemicals that create joy, motivation, and peace of mind. Older adults with sufficient B12 are less likely to fall into emptiness, anxiety, or depression. Their sleep becomes gentler, like a lullaby at day's end. Sometimes, one small detail in the body can shape an entire stage of life. Vitamin B12 is that small but precious detail.
Harms of vitamin B12 deficiency in older adults. When we are young, the body is like a brand new machine. Everything runs smoothly, strongly. But in later years, that machine has weathered decades. Parts wear down, efficiency declines. This is when tiny but essential nutrients become more critical than ever. Vitamin B12 is one of them. The danger is this: with age, our ability to absorb vitamin B12 weakens. The stomach produces less acid, enzymes fade, and the gut lining no longer works as efficiently. So even with a normal diet, many older adults silently slip into deficiency. They may not know until the damage shows itself step by step, draining both body and mind. The first and clearest harm is neurological disturbance. Without B12, the myelin sheath protecting nerves is damaged and signals misfire. Elderly people begin to feel tingling in their hands and feet, like pins and needles running up the limbs. Grip weakens, gait becomes unsteady, falls become more likely. Worse still, memory fades. Recent tasks are forgotten in moments. Familiar faces feel foreign. Over time, this leads to dementia, pulling the elderly away from reality in confusion and sorrow. Then comes megaloblastic anemia. Here, red blood cells grow large but ineffective at carrying oxygen. The result: pale skin, chronic fatigue, dizziness, and even shortness of breath after just a few steps. Life feels drained of energy. Interest in daily activities slips away. Many think this is just old age, but in truth, it is the body crying out for B12. Another silent harm is weakened immunity. B12 is crucial for forming white blood cells, the body's frontline defense. Without it, white blood cell counts and quality drop, leaving the elderly prone to infections, pneumonia, urinary tract infections, skin diseases. What once were minor illnesses now become heavy burdens because the immune system is fragile and slow to recover. Most dangerous, however, are the cardiovascular risks. As mentioned earlier, B12 helps regulate homocysteine levels. Without it, homocysteine builds up, damaging vessel walls and driving atherosclerosis. This sets the stage for sudden heart attacks and strokes. In the elderly, one such event can take away health or life in an instant. Beyond the physical, lack of B12 deeply affects mental health and sleep. Without it, serotonin and dopamine production falters. Older adults easily slip into depression, anxiety, irritability. Nights stretch long with insomnia. Mornings come heavy with fatigue. Many believe this is simply the psychology of aging, but often it's the quiet effect of a missing nutrient. In truth, vitamin B12 deficiency is like a silent storm. It doesn't strike all at once, but erodes steadily. It begins with mild fatigue, tingling limbs, restless nights. Then layer upon layer, it builds into cognitive decline, cardiovascular threats, immune weakness, mental darkness, and in the end, quality of life deteriorates drastically. The saddest part: families often fail to see it. Forgetfulness is dismissed as just aging. Fatigue is brushed off as a natural decline, but no, sometimes it's simply the absence of this tiny vitamin. And with timely testing and proper supplementation, many symptoms can be improved, giving the elderly a chance at clearer minds, stronger bodies, brighter days. This is the reminder: health isn't only about major diseases or dramatic diagnoses. Sometimes it's about the small details that quietly keep us alive and well. Vitamin B12 is one of those details. If your parents or grandparents show unusual signs: tingling hands, poor memory, chronic fatigue, or even long nights of sleeplessness, don't dismiss it with "they're just old." Consider B12 deficiency. A simple blood test, a brief talk with a doctor, could change everything. Vitamin B12 deficiency doesn't kill overnight, but it chips away day after day, making old age heavier, lonelier, and more painful. And all of this can be changed with awareness, with care, with timely action. Who is most at risk, and safe ways to supplement when we think about B12 deficiency? Many blame poor diet, but the truth is, older adults can still suffer even with normal meals. The first group at risk are lifelong vegetarians. Natural sources of B12 are almost exclusively animal-based: meat, fish, eggs, dairy. Remove these, and the body has no doorway to B12. Younger people can rely on liver reserves for a while, but in the elderly, those reserves are depleted and deficiency shows quickly. Next are those with stomach or intestinal issues. To absorb B12, the body needs a protein called intrinsic factor, produced by the stomach. But with chronic gastritis, atrophic stomach lining, or after gastric surgery, intrinsic factor drops dramatically. As a result, absorption collapses. Another group: older adults taking acid-reducing medications long-term. Drugs like PPEs ease heartburn and reflux, but at the cost of B12 absorption. With stomach acid suppressed, food-bound B12 is no longer freed, and deficiency quietly grows over years. Also at risk: anyone who has undergone intestinal resection, since the small intestine is where B12 absorption takes place. For them, diet alone is not enough. Other methods are required. So, how should the elderly safely and effectively supplement B12? The first step: whole foods. This is always the foundation. B12-rich foods include animal liver, red meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. Beef liver and salmon are among the richest sources, yet too much red meat may stress the heart, so balance is key. Rotate sources: some fish, an egg a day, low-fat milk, or a modest serving of liver. Second, supplements. Pills or lozenges can provide consistent daily intake, but dosage matters and should be guided by a doctor, as needs vary by age, health, and degree of deficiency. Third, for those with absorption problems after surgery or lacking intrinsic factor, injections are most effective. This bypasses digestion, delivering B12 straight into the bloodstream. It is safe and often life-changing, but must be managed under medical supervision. Regular checkups are vital. Testing B12 and homocysteine levels can reveal deficiencies early, even before symptoms appear. Think of it as routine maintenance of an old machine. Early care prevents serious breakdowns. B12 also works hand in hand with folate, B9 and B6. Deficiency in one reduces the effect of the others. So, older adults should aim for a balanced nutritional approach, not focusing on B12 alone but ensuring harmony across nutrients. Think of aging as an old house. Fixing one brick while ignoring the foundation does little good. True care comes from reinforcing the whole structure. So where do you begin? Start small. Notice if you or your loved ones feel constantly tired, tingling in limbs, memory slipping, or mood darkening. If yes, ask for a blood test. Let knowledge guide your next step, and above all, be patient. B12 supplementation isn't magic, but over time you'll see changes: stronger bodies, clearer minds, calmer sleep. These are the quiet rewards of timely care, because health in old age isn't about adding years to life, it's about adding life to years. A father still strong enough to lift his grandchild. A mother still cooking meals without exhaustion. Grandparents telling stories with sharp memory and warm voices. That is true longevity. One tiny nutrient, one small step, can bring that vision closer. Vitamin B12 is proof of that truth. Old age is like a train slowing after a long journey. The body is no longer swift, memory no longer razor sharp. But this doesn't mean we are powerless before time. In fact, if we listen closely, if we cherish the small details, we can still live these years with clarity, health, and fullness. Vitamin B12 is one of those details. It is the quiet golden key. With it, minds remain sharp, steps steady, hearts strong, spirits at peace. Without it, life becomes fragile, memory fades, energy drains, moods darken. We often focus on the big diseases, blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, while overlooking a simple vitamin. Yet it is precisely this small absence that can unlock so many larger problems. So let's treat B12 not as optional but essential. Begin with the plate: fish, eggs, milk, add supplements if needed. Seek injections if absorption fails. But most of all, act early. Don't wait for symptoms to scream. Listen while the whispers are still soft, because health is not about counting years, but making each day whole. A father steady enough to hold his grandchild without trembling. A mother still standing strong in her kitchen. Grandparents still telling stories, clear-eyed, their voices warm. That is the gift of true health. You and I, we will all grow old. But old age need not mean decline. It can mean peace, clarity, and joy if we care for ourselves now. So remember, even one small nutrient, one quiet helper like vitamin B12, can shape that future. Thank you for staying with me through this video. If this message resonates with you, share it with those you love. A single click may be a priceless gift for the health of your parents, your grandparents, and yourself.